436 victims. A 7-year reign of terror. The Champawat tiger boasts the record for the most human kills by any single animal in history. She is known as the Devil of India. On a chilling afternoon in 1997, a young girl ventured into the heart of a dense Indian jungle alongside 2 fellow villagers. Their destination? A mysterious ravine shrouded in an eerie silence. The air hung heavy with anticipation, as if nature itself held its breath, bracing for an impending storm. Armed with baskets and knives, the trio ascended the towering trees, their whispers of gossip mingling with the rustle of leaves. The young girl, her basket now brimming with the coveted foliage, prepared to descend. With a cautious maneuver, she eased herself off the branch, her heart pulsating with an inexplicable sense of unease. Yet, her fears were abruptly realized as a bone-chilling shriek escaped her trembling lips. A beast, a tiger of untamed ferocity, had seized her delicate foot in its razor-sharp claws. Panic engulfed her being as she fought desperately to cling to the tree, her nails digging into the bark like a desperate plea for salvation. But in a vicious display of power, the relentless predator yanked her mercilessly from her sanctuary, casting her into the impenetrable abyss of the forest. Amidst the severity of her own anguished cries, the young girl's ears caught the haunting chorus of her companion's terror. Their agonized pleas echoed through the air, mingling with the primal roars of the ravenous beast. In the darkest depths of the green wilderness, her fate was sealed. The jaws of the insatiable tiger closed around her fragile throat, extinguishing her cries in a final, chilling breath. With her demise, the devil that haunted the very soul of India claimed yet another victim, its infamous tally now standing at a sinister 434. In the treacherous depths of 19th-century India, a relentless battle raged between man and tiger. The ferocity of this conflict was so immense that it left no room for certainty. Victory could be claimed by either predator or prey. It was a time when fear prowled the land, and the villagers dared not venture between settlements alone. Instead, they banded together, clutching their torches high, hoping to ward off the insatiable man-eaters that lurked within the shadows of the wilderness. The Bengal tigers, exceptionally formidable, possessed a power that struck terror into the hearts of those who dared defy them. With a bite force exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch and canines that surpassed those of any other feline, they were masterful hunters. Their sinewy bodies could traverse great distances, carrying their prey for miles, regardless of its weight. And with lightning speed, they could sprint at a breathtaking pace of 40 miles per hour. But perhaps most chilling of all was their ability to hold grudges, relentlessly pursuing those who had wronged them. One can only fathom the living nightmare that ensued when an abundance of these majestic beasts terrorized the people of India. For over 4 harrowing years, this elusive tigress had tormented the inhabitants, her reign of terror unyielding. Driven away from the quaint village of Nepal, she had found solace in the darkness, relentlessly claiming victim after victim. Eventually, the besieged village resorted to placing a bounty on her head, beckoning hunters from far and wide to confront the menace that haunted their every waking moment. But one by one, these seasoned hunters returned home, their spirits crushed and their efforts in vain. The tigress, far more cunning than anyone had anticipated, eluded their grasp, leaving them in a wake of shame and failure. Yet, amidst the despair and desperation, a glimmer of hope emerged. A young man named Jim Corbett, who had spent his life navigating the treacherous landscapes of India, engaging in relentless hunts for various creatures, caught wind of the call. Unyielding in his determination, he dared to face the beast, fully aware of the peril that awaited him. He faced a formidable adversary, a monster of untold savagery. The call had come, summoning him to confront one of the most vicious man-eaters to ever haunt the land. But Jim, even in his youthful naivety, possessed a wisdom that eluded his fellow hunters. He saw beyond the facade of a crazed beast and recognized the desperate struggle for survival that lay within. With a steely resolve, he demanded that the bounty on the tiger's head be removed. This was not a hunt driven by the allure of wealth. It was a battle against an animal that needed to be stopped. For 4 grueling days, Jim ventured through the sweltering jungles, his determination unwavering. Finally, he stumbled upon the village of Pali, only to find it in a state of disarray. The once bustling square lay desolate, a haunting emptiness permeating the air. His keen eyes detected movement within the huts, a flicker of life amidst the desolation. Setting foot in the town square, he kindled a fire, its crackling flames casting eerie shadows that danced upon the worn stones. And there, he waited, his senses heightened, attuned to every sound that pierced the silence. Time stood still, the weight of anticipation hanging heavy in the air. Then, like phantoms emerging from the darkness, the terrified villagers emerged from their homes. Wide-eyed and trembling, they recounted their tales of horror. For 4 interminable days, they had been prisoners within their own dwellings, seeking refuge from the relentless terror that prowled the land. The tiger's roars echoed through the night, a chilling symphony of impending doom. Fear had paralyzed them, rendering them motionless, but now, they knew they could no longer remain passive. Their desperation was palpable, etched upon their sunken faces. Food supplies dwindled, and the specter of starvation loomed over them like a vulture ready to feast. Jim Corbett, the beacon of hope amidst their despair, became their last lifeline, their final chance at salvation. With a sense of urgency, he enlisted the aid of a companion and embarked on a perilous journey towards the desolate ravine, the haunting site of the young girl's tragic demise. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, their eyes scanned the ground for any sign, any trace left behind by the elusive predator. And there, amidst the untamed landscape, Corbett's trained eye detected the enigmatic trail, the indelible footprints of the tiger. A shiver ran down his spine as he realized the true nature of their opponent. It was no ordinary beast. They were dealing with a seasoned, experienced female, her prime long gone. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily upon them, as they stood surrounded by the grim remnants, mere fragments of bone, all that remained of the unfortunate victim. With solemn determination, they gathered the remains, their purpose clear, to offer a proper funeral, a final tribute to the fallen. But fate had more horrors in store. Whispers of a fresh tragedy echoed through the village, leading Corbett on a treacherous path towards neighboring settlements. There, he encountered a group of horrified witnesses, their eyes filled with terror as they recounted the chilling encounter. Their trembling voices revealed a tale of pure malevolence. A devilish creature, known as Shaitan, had seized a woman by the small of her back, tearing her away into the dense canopy of trees. With desperation in her voice, the victim had wailed for salvation, begging for help amidst her agonizing screams. However, paralyzed by their own fears, the witnesses had remained rooted to the spot, powerless to confront the merciless beast that was unleashing terror upon their village. As Corbett delved deeper into the mysteries that enshrouded the area, he crossed paths with a destitute woman on the outskirts of town. Her haunted eyes spoke volumes, revealing the horrors she had endured. Struck dumb by the ferocity of a tiger attack that had claimed her sister's life months ago, she had been left with nothing but a shattered voice. In a desperate act of self-sacrifice, she had pursued the tiger, beseeching the fearsome creature to take her instead. Yet, her pleas had fallen on deaf ears, as the tiger callously ignored her cries, vanishing without a trace into the forbidding wilderness. Corbett absorbed every fragment of information, piecing together the enigmatic puzzle that surrounded these elusive tigers. But the knowledge he gained only served as a foundation, a mere starting point. He hungered for a breakthrough, a powerful lead that would thrust him closer to his quarry. And as fate would have it, while Corbett engaged in a conversation with the village elder, a young man, panting and wide-eyed, abruptly appeared before him. His words tumbled out in a breathless flurry, conveying the truth: the devil had struck once more. Determination ignited within Corbett, fueling his resolve. With a firm grip on his rifle, he set forth into the foreboding depths of the jungle, his footsteps echoing with a palpable sense of purpose. It was time to confront the tiger, to bring an end to her reign of terror once and for all. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting ominous shadows, Corbett's mind raced with the realization that darkness would render him helpless against the formidable predator. With a sense of urgency, he retraced his steps, his thoughts consumed by a new plan. He understood that venturing into the tiger's own territory would tip the scales in her favor, putting him in grave danger. Instead, he needed to manipulate the situation, to lure her into an area where he could gain a clear shot. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, Corbett positioned the villagers strategically. On one hill stood the crest, while at the bottom lay a wide ravine. His plan hinged on their cooperation, to create a cacophony of noise, a symphony of chaos that would flush the tiger out of her hiding place, forcing her into the open. Meanwhile, Corbett positioned himself on the neighboring hill, his heart pounding in his chest as he prepared for the moment of truth. But perhaps, the villagers' eagerness got the better of them. In their fervor, they unleashed a deafening uproar, far earlier than anticipated, a staggering 150 yards away from Corbett's desired position. Panic surged through him, his instincts screaming at him to reach his designated spot. With every muscle straining, he sprinted across the treacherous terrain, his footing uncertain, his life hanging in the balance. Above him, on the other side of the ravine, the cacophony reached a crescendo. Guns fired, pots and pans clashed, and screams pierced the air. Corbett flung himself to the ground, concealing his presence in the tall grass, his heart pounding against his ribcage. The symphony of chaos engulfed him, drowning out all other sounds, and his hope wavered. Then, she emerged. A vision of regal grace, the tiger trotted through the underbrush, her eyes wide with alarm, her ears flattened against her skull in response to the ruckus that echoed around her. In that fleeting moment, Corbett's training and skill converged. He steadied his aim, the weight of the world on his shoulders, and squeezed the trigger. The bullet found its mark, striking her rump. A snarl erupted from her throat as she sprang into motion, fueled by fury and pain, the second shot narrowly missing its intended target, trailing behind her retreating figure. Corbett's heart sank, a mixture of relief and disappointment washing over him. He had wounded her, but she had managed to elude capture once again. The chase was far from over. With grim determination, he rose from his concealed position, his gaze locked on the fading silhouette of the tigress. This deadly dance between hunter and hunted had only just begun, and he knew that the stakes had been raised. The relentless pursuit would continue until either he prevailed, or the tiger's reign of terror claimed its next victim. He followed the trail of blood. There amidst the swaying grass, he caught a glimpse of her piercing eyes, gleaming with an untamed ferocity. Time seemed to stand still as he steadied himself, knowing that this was the defining moment. He had to make a split-second decision. Without hesitation, he squeezed the trigger, the deafening sound of the gunshot ripping through the air. The world seemed to hold its breath as the bullet hurtled towards its target, a testament to Corbett's unwavering resolve. The suspense hung heavy, as if time itself had frozen, uncertain of the outcome. And then, in an instant, the truth revealed itself. The tigress, startled by the resounding crack of the gunshot, recoiled with a primal growl of pain and fury. The scene unfolded in a surreal dance of life and death, a dangerous ballet between predator and prey. Corbett's heart pounded in his chest as he watched her reaction, his fate intertwined with hers. But would his shot be enough to bring her down? The answer remained shrouded in uncertainty, as the suspense lingered in the air like a tangible presence. The grass rustled, obscuring his view, amplifying the tension that gripped his every fiber. The suspense was unbearable, the stakes impossibly high. In that moment, it became clear, this was a battle of survival, a test of courage and skill. It was him or her, locked in a deadly struggle for dominance. Corbett's mind raced, his muscles tense with anticipation. He knew that there was no room for doubt or hesitation. His life depended on the accuracy of that second shot. With his finger poised on the trigger, he braced himself for the final act. Time seemed to slow as he took aim once more, his focus unyielding. The world around him faded into the background, his entire being consumed by the weight of the moment. And then, with a surge of determination, he unleashed the bullet into the darkened abyss. The suspense reached its climax, a crescendo of uncertainty. The outcome remained shrouded in the unknown, as the untamed wilderness held its breath. Corbett stood there, his heart pounding, his ears ringing with the echoes of his own actions. The suspense hung heavy in the air, as anticipation and fear intertwined. All that remained was the haunting silence, a void waiting to be filled with the truth. Had he succeeded? Had his shot found its mark, silencing the threat that had plagued the land? The answer lingered, elusive and enigmatic, as the suspense continued to grip Corbett's soul. It was a battle of wits and survival, a moment where destiny hung by a fragile thread. Only time would reveal the outcome. A revelation that would either mark Corbett as the victor or condemn him to the clutches of the relentless predator that stalked the shadows. In that suspended moment, as the suspense engulfed him, he could only hope that he had made the right choice, that his second shot had sealed his fate as the hunter who had outwitted the untamable beast. He followed the trail of blood again, and there he found her. Her teeth flashed as a warning, and she charged. He took his third and final shot. In an instant, she fell into a heap. Corbett ascended the rugged stone outcrop with bated breath. As he knelt beside her, his heart pounded in his chest. A wave of sorrow washed over him as he beheld the shattered remnants of her once glistening jewel. Above and below the fractured surface, a lament against humanity echoed through the air. She was the victim of a callous hunter, a wretch who had wounded her years ago and callously neglected to finish the job. The bullet had ravaged her body, leaving her completely crippled. How long had she endured excruciating pain? In her desperate quest for sustenance, she had resorted to attacking and killing villagers, driven by a hunger that knew no bounds. Shaitan, Shaitan, the word reverberated across the ravine, carrying with it a collective outcry of anger and fear. Before Corbett could comprehend the situation, a furious mob of villagers descended upon him. Their demand was clear. They sought to take possession of the wounded tigress, eager to exact their revenge by hacking her into pieces. Each of these men had suffered at the hands of this formidable predator, and their wrath was understandable. But Corbett couldn't allow them to carry out such a grisly act. With a steely resolve, he somehow managed to quell their rage. Gradually, the frenzied mob subsided, their fury yielding to a somber realization. Reluctantly, Corbett relinquished his hold on the tigress, and the villagers bore her down from the rocky perch with a newfound reverence. The reign of terror was at an end. The tigress, once feared as a devil incarnate, would now be paraded from village to village. Her lifeless form would serve as proof to all who beheld her that she was gone. Corbett knew that he would eventually claim her as a trophy, her magnificent skin a testament to his prowess. But before embarking on his final journey, he had one crucial stop to make. Clutching the bell in his hand, he sought out the mute woman. As he revealed the lifeless skin of the tigress, a spark ignited within her eyes. With an urgency that could not be contained, she sprinted towards the village, her voice resonating with a long-lost fervor. Word spread like wildfire as she called out to all, beckoning them to witness the sight before them. Corbett couldn't forget the awestruck expressions etched upon the faces of her children. For a full year, their mother had been silenced, her voice held captive by an unknown force. But now, in the presence of the tigress's skin, she found her voice once again. The tale of the man-eater lingered in the air, casting a chilling shadow over the village. It was a story of darkness, tragedy, and the unleashed fury of nature. Yet, at its core, it served as a rallying cry against the injustices that plagued their world. The true villain was not the tigress, but the hunter whose foolishness had set this calamity in motion. By merely wounding her instead of delivering a swift death, he had unwittingly transformed her into a fearsome predator. It was conceivable that her anger had festered, fueling her insatiable need to claim human lives. Tigers were known to harbor grudges, after all. But perhaps, amidst the terror that gripped their hearts, they could find solace in the tigress's story. It served as a stark reminder that sometimes, anger could be justified. The devil had met its demise.